My wife and her brothers took my house and expected me to just accept it. But I knew this had been planned for months, so I made my move. By morning, everything they had was gone, replaced by eviction notices and serious legal trouble. I watched my perfect life crumble, piece by piece, as my wife and her brothers conspired to steal everything I had. But they severely underestimated the man they thought they could break. The air in my once vibrant living room hung thick with the dust of betrayal, illuminated by the harsh glow of the setting sun filtering through drawn blinds. The scent of cheap cardboard and stale sweat mingled, a suffocating perfume to the death of a dream. My chest felt hollow, a drum ready to burst, but I stood there, utterly still, watching the scene unfold. It's surreal, typing this out, like recounting a nightmare I somehow woke up from. But the scars are real. I'm Daniel, 34, and for 5 years, I was married to Sophia, 32. We had it all, or so I thought. A sprawling, 5-bedroom house in one of those exclusive, gated communities. You know the kind. Manicured lawns, Range Rovers in every driveway, a sparkling pool in the backyard, granite countertops gleaming under custom lighting. We bought it 3 years ago, a monument to our shared ambition. I'm a sales manager, not just some random guy selling cars. I run the whole damn sales team for a major dealership, 25 people under me, making good money. Sophia, she was supposedly in pharmaceutical sales. Key word, supposedly. We met at a charity gala 6 years back. I was there, bored, repping my dealership, when she walked in an absolute vision. She commanded attention, seemed to know everyone, and somehow, her gaze landed on me. She was smart, driven, and for some reason, genuinely captivated by me. A year later, we had a perfect beach wedding, mostly paid for by her parents. I thought I'd found my person. But every fairy tale has its monsters, and mine came in the form of Sophia's 2 older brothers, Ethan, 38, and Owen, 36. Ex-Navy SEALs, both of them. Roided-up jerks who never missed a chance to make me feel like a lesser man. Just a car salesman. They'd sneer or try to challenge me to arm wrestling at family dinners, flexing their muscles and their 6-figure salaries from private security firms. Ethan, the older one, was a mountain of a man, 6 feet 3 inches, 240 pounds of pure menace. He'd make sure you knew he could snap you in half. Owen was smaller, but somehow even more of a snake, whispering to Sophia, "You could do better," when he thought I couldn't hear. They both drove obnoxious vehicles. Ethan, a lifted F-350 with truck nuts. Owen, a custom Ducati that probably cost more than my first car. I tried to ignore them. For the first few years, Sophia and I were happy. We traveled, we built our careers, we bought our dream home. The picture-perfect Instagram couple. Then, about 8 months ago, the cracks started to show. Sophia began working late constantly. Her phone became her shadow, always face down, always clutched tight. If I walked in while she was texting, she'd jump like I'd caught her stealing. The red flags weren't just waving, they were practically slapping me in the face. Her stories about work never quite lined up. Small things at first, easily dismissed, but my gut churned. A lunch meeting at one restaurant, but a credit card charge from another, miles away. A colleague named Jenny, but Jenny's social media placed her at a conference across the country. I started digging because I couldn't ignore the nagging feeling. I checked credit card statements, scrolled through her social media. Then, 3 months ago, a text from our neighbor, Brenda. "Hey, Daniel, is everything okay with Sophia's job? Just saw her company car being repossessed." I played it cool with Brenda, mumbling about a mix-up, but inside, I was reeling. That night, searching for tax documents, I found a termination letter from her company. She'd been fired 3 months prior for stealing pharmaceutical samples, a felony worth over $43,000. She'd been faking going to work every single day. The shock was paralyzing.
Why?
Why would she do this? I didn't confront her immediately. I just watched, listened, and paid closer attention than she could ever know. 2 days later, the universe handed me my next clue. I was supposedly asleep, but I heard Sophia on the phone in the bathroom, her voice hushed. "No, He doesn't suspect anything. Yeah, they'll be here Thursday. Don't worry, he's too focused on work to notice. Ethan and Owen will handle everything. Instead of bursting in, raging, which is what the old Daniel might have done, I decided to play it cold. That night, I set up my phone to record audio in our bedroom and living room while I was at work. The garbage I heard confirmed everything. She was planning something, talking about how I'd never see it coming, how her brothers would take care of everything. Thursday arrived. I kissed Sophia goodbye like everything was normal and drove off to work. Except I only drove down the street, parking out of sight. Around 10 a.m., Ethan's massive truck and Owen's obnoxious motorcycle pulled up to my house. My blood ran cold, but my resolve hardened. 30 minutes later, I drove back, pulling into my driveway. As I walked to the front door, I could hear their laughter spilling out. I unlocked it, stepped inside, and froze. Our entire living room was a chaotic landscape of moving boxes. Ethan and Owen were lugging my belongings down the stairs, while Sophia was sprawled on our $5,000 leather sectional, scrolling on her phone, directing them like a queen in her yoga pants and designer sunglasses. "What is going on?" I asked, my voice a dead calm whisper, fighting the scream building in my chest. Sophia barely looked up. "Oh, you're early. We were hoping to be done before you got home." Done with what, exactly? I already knew, but I needed to hear it from her. Ethan dropped a box containing my limited edition Star Wars collectibles and smirked. "Sophia's decided she needs a change." I stared at the woman I'd married. "You're moving me out? Is this true?" She wouldn't meet my eyes. "I've been unhappy for a while. I want to sell the house and start fresh. It'll be easier if you just go." My shoulders squared. The house we bought together? The house we both own? The house that's in my name because I paid 85% of the down payment. Owen stepped into my personal space, his breath smelling of protein shake. "Look, bro, don't make this harder than it needs to be. She wants you gone, so you go before we make you crap your pants." "Get the hell out of my face," I spat, my voice rock steady despite the fury churning inside me. "You can't just kick me out of my own house." Both brothers laughed. A harsh, mocking sound. "He's really going to stop us?" Ethan sneered. "Nah, he's too weak for that. Might want to hand him a tissue before he bursts into tears." I looked at Sophia, searching for a flicker of humanity, for her to defend me, her husband of 5 years. Instead, she sighed. Like I was an annoying fly. "Just accept it and move on," she said, still fixated on her phone. "I'll have my lawyer contact you about the divorce." That's when it happened. Something inside me snapped, not with rage, but with an icy, terrifying calm. It was pure cold calculation. I looked at my life, being packed into boxes by 2 muscled thugs and the woman who couldn't even respect me enough for a real conversation about ending our marriage. I smiled, a slow, unsettling smile that clearly unnerved them. "You know what? I think there's been a misunderstanding here." My voice was eerily calm. I pulled out my phone, holding it up. "I've been recording everything since I walked in, and I have more recordings from the last 2 days of you 3 planning this whole thing." Their smug expressions faltered. "You're bluffing," Ethan said, but his voice lacked conviction. I played a clip. Sophia's voice, clear as day. "Once he's out, we'll sell the house and split the money before he knows what hit him." The color drained from her face. "You were spying on me?" "No," I said, my voice cutting through the silence. "I was protecting myself from a wife who's clearly been planning to screw me over. Now, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to leave for a few hours. When I come back, I expect my house to be exactly as it was, with all my stuff back where it belongs. Or I take these recordings to my lawyer and the police for illegal eviction attempts." Owen stepped towards me, aggressive. "You think we're scared of the military contractor you work for?" I cut him off. "Has a very specific code of conduct that prohibits employees from engaging in potentially criminal activity. It would be a shame if these recordings found their way to your supervisor." His face went white. A 6-figure salary was on the line. I turned to Ethan. "And you're up for that big promotion at Shield Solutions next month, aren't you? The one you told everyone about at Christmas dinner?" Wonder what they'd think about this. Finally, I looked at Sophia. Oh, and darling, I know you lost your pharma job 3 months ago. The company car was repossessed last week. Brenda texted me about it. So, what, exactly, have you been doing during those sales conferences? Her mouth fell open. How did you be back in 3 hours? I said, cutting her off. And we'll talk about how this divorce is actually going to go down. I walked upstairs, grabbed my laptop, some important documents, and a change of clothes, along with a backup drive of my financial records. I had copies stored securely elsewhere. I wasn't stupid. As I gathered my things, I saw Sophia's iPad on the nightstand. Something compelled me to pick it up. Maybe the universe was finally throwing me a bone. She always used the same password. Our anniversary date. It unlocked immediately. Notifications from a messaging app I'd never seen before popped up. I opened it. Hundreds of messages between her and someone named Caleb. Disgusting, graphic texts about their hotel meetups during her work conferences, planning a future in Miami, joking about me being clueless. There were selfies. Caleb, shirtless with that classic gym bro look. Sophia in the lingerie I'd bought her for her anniversary. I scrolled back further, all the way to January. Messages where she was freaking out about being fired, about stealing samples. Caleb had been encouraging her, assuring her they could make good money from it. Don't worry, babe, the car repo isn't a big deal. Your husband is too busy at work to notice you don't even have a job anymore. One of his texts read from 3 months ago. My hands trembled with a cold, righteous rage. I forwarded screenshots of everything to my email. I also found their hotel reservation for tonight at the Hyatt downtown, a reservation she'd made with our credit card. I put the iPad back, exactly as I found it. I walked out with a whole new understanding of the depth of her betrayal. Don't even think about touching anything else of mine, I called out as I headed for the door. I've cataloged everything valuable in the house with photos and serial numbers. I got in my car, put my meager belongings in the trunk, and drove away, my mind racing, my life shattering around me. Everything I'd built, gone. But in that moment, something shifted. I wasn't losing it. I was reclaiming it. As I pulled out, I could see them through the window, frantically arguing. My house. I checked into a hotel downtown, sat on the king bed, and made one call. Just one. To a man named David. He's my mentor, the owner of our dealership chain. The same David who'd been helping me set up a special investment fund for the past year. The same David who owned a real estate development company on the side and had said, "That neighborhood of yours, Daniel, it's prime for luxury development. If you ever spot an opportunity there, I'll pay 30% above market value cash." The call lasted 12 minutes. That's it. 12 minutes to completely decimate Sophia's plans. After I hung up, I called my bank and froze our joint accounts. Not closed. That could be seen as financial abandonment during divorce proceedings, just frozen, pending investigation for suspicious activity. I transferred half of our savings to my personal account that Sophia didn't have access to. Completely legal as long as I disclosed it. Then, I called American Express and reported my card compromised, requesting new cards for my accounts only, removing her as an authorized user due to suspicious charges. They overnight new cards to the hotel. When I was done, I sat in silence, the images of Sophia and Caleb burning in my mind. I couldn't let it go. I knew where she was planning to be. The Hyatt downtown. I grabbed my keys, drove over, and parked across the street, a man with unfinished business. Sure enough, just before 9 p.m., she pulled up in her usual yoga pants disguise. This time, Caleb slid out of the passenger seat, like he owned her and the car. They walked into the hotel lobby, all cozy, laughing like teenagers. I took photos from my car window. Clear. Incriminating. Time-stamped. One showed her kissing his cheek. Another, her handing over a room key card. The final one, them entering the elevator together.
Game. Set. Match.
For hours later, I drove back to the house. Ethan's truck was gone, but Owen's bike was still there. I walked in to find Sophia frantically cleaning and Owen moving boxes back upstairs. The look on their faces was priceless. "You're back early," Sophia said, suddenly trying to sound sweet. She'd changed into one of my favorite dresses, hair done, makeup fresh. "Where's all my stuff?" I asked, my voice cold. "We're putting everything back, just like you asked," she said, walking toward me, arms out for a hug. I stepped back. "Don't touch me." "Where's Ethan?" Owen cleared his throat. He had to get back to work. "But look, man, we were just trying to help Sophia. Maybe we all got a little carried away." "A little carried away?" I repeated, my eye twitching. "You tried to illegally evict me from my own house." Sophia's eyes filled with tears. "Daniel, baby, I was emotional and not thinking straight. I should have talked to you. We can work this out." I almost laughed. "Now you want to work it out? After I caught you? After I have evidence of you planning to sell my house out from under me? After you lied about losing your job? After your brothers threatened me?" "I didn't lose my job," she stammered. "That's a misunderstanding. Brenda saw the company car being repossessed, Sophia. She has a photo of it. Want me to call her over here right now?" Owen tried to step in. "Look, maybe we should all take a day to cool off." You should leave," I said, not even looking at him. "Sophia's my sister, man. I'm not just going to get the hell out of my house." I roared, finally letting the emotion break through. "Before I call the police and have you removed." Owen looked at Sophia, who gave a slight nod. He grabbed his jacket, and a minute later, his motorcycle roared to life. Once we were alone, Sophia tried a different tack. "Daniel, I know I've made some mistakes, but you're making a bigger one right now," she said, her voice dropping to that seductive tone she used when she wanted something. "We can fix this. We've been together 5 years. Don't throw that away over one bad day." I just stared at her. "One bad day? Is that what you call planning to steal everything from me? Lying about your job? Having your brothers threaten me?" "I never told them to threaten you," she insisted. "I have recordings that say otherwise," I replied. "Now, I'm sleeping in the guest room tonight. Tomorrow morning, we're going to discuss divorce terms. I suggest you call a lawyer." Her face hardened. "You're making a huge mistake. You think you're so smart with your recordings and your threats. You're nothing without me. You'll be begging me to come back within a month." I just smiled, thinking about my call with David. We'll see. When I went upstairs to the guest room, I found it completely empty. All the furniture, gone. They'd clearly planned to use this room to store my stuff temporarily. "Where's the bed that was in here?" I called downstairs. "We moved it to make room for your things," Sophia replied hesitantly. "And where is it now?" Silence. I walked back downstairs to find her texting rapidly on her phone. "Telling your brothers to come back?"
I asked. She jumped.
"No, I was just checking something." "Where's the guest bed, Sophia?" She couldn't meet my eyes. "Ethan took it to his place. He needed a new one and I told him he could have it." I nodded slowly. "So, you were giving away my furniture before I was even out of the house." "It's our furniture," she snapped. "Not anymore," I said, walking to the living room and grabbing my car keys again. "I'll be back." "Daniel, wait. Don't touch my stuff." "Where are you going?" she demanded, following me. "To sleep somewhere where people aren't plotting against me," I replied, walking out the door. Back at the Regency, I ordered room service. I sat there, adrenaline still thrumming, waiting for David to call back. When my phone finally rang around 9 p.m., I answered on the first ring. "It's all set," David said, without preamble. "My lawyers have drawn up the paperwork. The offer is $950,000 for your 85% share, 30% above market value as promised. We can close as early as tomorrow if you're ready to sign." "I'm ready," I said. "And the other part?" David chuckled. "Construction crews are already on standby. The moment the deed transfers, we start demolition. I've got 6 luxury townhouses planned for that lot, all pre-sold at $650,000 each. Your soon-to-be ex can enjoy watching her dream home get bulldozed." "Perfect," I said. "Send the paperwork over tonight. I'll sign everything first thing in the morning." "You know, Daniel," David added before hanging up, "I always knew you had steel in you. Just never knew how much until now." I slept better that night than I had in months. The next morning, I drove to work as usual. I didn't tell Sophia where I was going, just left while she was still sleeping. At the office, I signed all the paperwork David's lawyers had sent over, officially selling my 85% share of the house to his development company. Around 10 a.m., I looked out my office window on the 15th floor and saw them. Sophia, Ethan, Owen. All three looking up at the building. They looked different now. Not smug. Absolutely terrified. My phone was blowing up. Sophia had called like 60 times since last night. The text previews read, "Please talk to us." You can't do this. I'm begging you. But I could. And I did. I let them wait in the parking lot for about 2 hours before I went down. Sophia was pacing, makeup smeared from crying. Owen was sitting on a parking block, head in his hands. Ethan was arguing with a security guard who wouldn't let them in. The moment I pushed through the doors, Sophia rushed toward me. "What did you do?" she demanded, eyes red and swollen. I just stared at her, coldly. "Do what, exactly?" "You sold our house." Ethan stepped forward, veins bulging in his neck. "Correction," I said calmly. "I sold my portion of the house to an investor, which I have every legal right to do. Maybe you should have read the paperwork before trying to throw me out. Here's what those idiots didn't know. When we bought the house, I set up an LLC that technically owned the property. I held 85% ownership and Sophia held 15%. The agreement, which she signed without reading carefully because she was too excited about the pool, clearly stated that either of us could sell our portion without the other's consent. So, when David called me back last night with his offer, I accepted immediately. He bought my 85% share at 30% above market value, $950,000 cash. No inspection needed. The paperwork was processed digitally by midnight. You can't just sell the house from under me. Sophia was screaming now, mascara running down her face. I didn't sell the house, I said, unmoved by her tears. I sold my share to an investor. You still own your measly 15%. But David now controls the majority share, which means I decide what happens next, David said, walking up to join us. He's 6 feet 4 inches, a former college football player in his 50s, still imposing as hell. And what I've decided is that the property will be completely demolished starting next week. We're putting in a 6-unit luxury townhouse development. Construction crews arrive Monday. Anyone still living there needs to vacate by Sunday. Sophia's face went from angry to horrified in seconds. Demolished? You can't be serious. That's our home. It's real estate, David corrected her. And now it's my real estate. I've been looking to develop in that neighborhood for years. Ethan stepped forward, trying to use his size to intimidate David. This is crap. You can't just... David cut him off. Actually, I can. The LLC agreement your sister signed gives the majority shareholder full authority over property decisions. I own 85% now, but I'm a reasonable man. I'm offering a $5,000 relocation stipend if the house is empty by Sunday. After that, I start deducting damages and delay costs from her 15% share. Ethan turned to me, his face red with fury. You pathetic coward. You planned this, didn't you? No, I said firmly. You three planned this. I just changed the ending. Owen tried to grab my arm. We need to talk about this like men. I yanked my arm away. Don't touch me, ever. And we're done talking. Sophia tried a different approach, her voice suddenly soft and pleading. Daniel, please, we can talk about this. I made a mistake. Where am I supposed to go? All my things are there. I laughed. A genuine, bitter laugh, right in her face. Well, you've got brothers with trucks who are great at moving boxes, I replied. I'm sure they'll help you figure it out. Maybe they can move you into their places, since they were so eager to move me out of mine. Ethan tried to step up again. Listen here, you piece of... I cut him off. No, you listen. Touch me, and you're going to jail for assault. This is all being recorded, and there are witnesses. Try me. He backed down immediately. These tough guys always do when they realize they can't use their muscles to solve the problem. I turned and walked back inside. Through the glass, I watched them argue with David for a while before security finally escorted them off the property. The cherry on top? David's security guy was even bigger than Ethan. And the look on that jerk's face when he had to back down was priceless. Back in my office, I leaned back in my chair and breathed deeply. Phase 1 complete. Time for Phase 2. I pulled out the folder I'd been compiling for the past 3 months. All my evidence neatly organized. Photos of Sophia and Caleb entering hotels. Screenshots of their text messages recovered from our shared cloud account. Bank statements showing the $2,000 weekly withdrawals. Copies of the termination letter from Farish detailing her theft of $43,000 in pharmaceutical samples. I'd even called Farish posing as a potential employer doing a reference check, which led to a very illuminating conversation with their HR director about why Sophia had been let go. Turns out they were still building a criminal case against her. Looking through it all again made my blood boil. The sheer scale of her betrayal was almost impressive. Losing her job for stealing, lying about it for months, cheating with Jimbro Caleb, spending our money on God knows what, and now trying to kick me out of my own house. I called my lawyer and asked her to come to my office. Bring the divorce paperwork, I said. And we might need a criminal attorney on standby, too. That night, I moved to an even nicer suite at the Regency, canceled any credit cards she was an authorized user on, and met with the ruthless divorce attorney I'd already consulted, a woman who specializes in cases involving infidelity and financial fraud. Oh, and David? He had already lined up demolition crews to level the entire house. He planned to turn our 5-bedroom family home into 6 luxury townhomes, selling for $650,000 each. The construction would start Monday at 7 a.m. sharp, and he specifically requested they begin with the loudest possible work. When I returned to the house briefly to collect more of my stuff, Sophia was waiting for me, looking desperate. She'd clearly been crying for hours. "Can we please talk?" she begged as I walked past her to the stairs. "Nothing to talk about," I replied. "You need to be out by Sunday." "Where am I supposed to go?" she cried. "My parents live in Florida. Not my problem," I said, gathering my clothes and electronics. "Maybe ask your boyfriend, Caleb, if you can move in with him." Her face went pale. "What are you talking about?" I pulled out my phone, scrolled to the photo I'd taken at the Hyatt, and turned it to face her. It showed her and Caleb entering the hotel, his hand all over her laughing up at him. "Pharmaceutical sales conference?" I asked coldly. She started sobbing. "It's not what it looks like." "It's exactly what it looks like," I replied. "You've been unemployed for months, lying to me daily, cheating on me with some gym rat, and planning to steal my house. Did I miss anything?" She collapsed onto the couch, face in her hands. "I was going to tell you about the job," she mumbled. I was embarrassed. "Save it for your lawyer," I said, zipping up my bag. "Oh, and speaking of lawyers, you might want to get a criminal attorney too. Farish knows about the stolen samples." Her head snapped up. "How did you?" "I know everything, Sophia. And it's all documented. Every last detail. Come wait." But I was already gone. It's been 2 weeks since I left Sophia crying in what used to be our living room. And holy moly, has it been satisfying. True to his word, David had demolition crews show up Monday morning at 7 o'clock sharp with jackhammers, bulldozers, and wrecking equipment. According to my neighbor Brenda, who's been sending me videos, Sophia was still moving her stuff out when they arrived. She begged for more time, but David was there personally and simply said, "You've had ample warning. Work begins now." The crews waited until exactly 8 o'clock, then started work regardless, beginning with the pool demolition while she frantically packed her designer clothes and shoes. The foreman accidentally cut the water main, leaving her with no running water. Oops. By Tuesday afternoon, the place was completely unlivable. Half the roof was gone. No working utilities. Noise and dust everywhere. Sophia finally left, apparently moving in with her parents, since both Ethan and Owen mysteriously couldn't accommodate her. So much for family loyalty when it actually requires sacrifice. Huh? Remember when I mentioned freezing the joint accounts and canceling her credit cards? Well, Sophia tried to use her Amex Black card to book a suite at the Ritz-Carlton and got declined in front of everyone at the front desk. That's when she discovered all the financial changes I'd made. The next day, Ethan and Owen showed up at my CrossFit gym. They tried to corner me by the weight rack, but I was ready. I'd warned the owner the day before that they might show up, and he had 3 trainers, all former MMA fighters, keeping an eye out. The moment they started getting aggressive, the trainers moved in, and the gym security cameras were recording everything. And let me make something crystal clear, I said loudly enough for everyone to hear. Your sister committed fraud and theft during our marriage. She was fired from her job for stealing drugs, which is a felony. She cheated on me for months. Then she and you two attempted to illegally evict me from my own house. You threatened me and tried to intimidate me. I have all of this documented. The police have been notified. What I did in response was completely legal and justified. When Ethan tried to grab my shirt, one of the trainers immediately stepped between us. Touch him and you're going to jail, the trainer said. We've got cameras everywhere and witnesses. Owen, trying to salvage their reputation, muttered something about handling this another way. I just laughed. Go ahead. Try something else. Your sister's already staring down possible criminal charges. Want to keep her company? And I'm sure your employer would be thrilled to hear how you're out here threatening people and trying to pull off illegal evictions. They weren't used to being challenged, especially not by someone they'd always dismissed as a car salesman. Their faces showed pure shock at this version of me, the one who wasn't intimidated, who pushed back harder than they came at me. This isn't over, Ethan said as they finally backed away. Actually, I called after them. It is. It was over the moment you underestimated me. Now, get the F*** out before I call the cops. After they left, several gym members came over to high-five me. One guy, a corporate lawyer, handed me his card. If you need additional legal counsel, call me. That was badass. My lawyer tells me the divorce will be heavily in my favor given the evidence we have. Sophia's lawyer quit after seeing the mountain of evidence we presented. Turns out her lawyer was actually just her cousin who had gone to law school but failed the bar exam twice. She's now struggling to find anyone willing to represent her given the financial fraud and potential criminal charges. As for me, I found a stunning penthouse apartment in the most secure building in the city. I'm hitting the gym 6 days a week and focusing on rebuilding. I've never felt more clear-headed or determined. The most unexpected development has been at work. David was so impressed with how I handled everything that he's offered me a position as Vice President of Strategic Investments at his firm, a massive promotion with a 7-figure salary and equity.
So yeah.
3 months have passed since my world exploded and reformed into something better. The divorce proceedings are moving along swiftly, with court dates set for next month. My lawyer says it's one of the most lopsided cases she's ever seen in terms of evidence. The demolition of the house was completed in just 10 days. David's crews worked overtime to clear the lot, and construction on the new townhomes is already well underway. The foundation is poured, framing has begun, and pre-sales are through the roof. I drive by occasionally just to see the progress, and yes, to savor the victory a little. Sophia's life has continued its spectacular downward spiral. Last week, Farish officially pressed charges against her for the theft of samples. She was arrested on a Tuesday morning, spent 36 hours in jail before making bail, and is now facing felony charges that could result in serious jail time. Her parents called me, begging me to speak to the company about dropping the charges. I almost laughed. You raised a daughter who lied, cheated, stole, and tried to destroy me, I told her father. And now you want my help? Where was your concern when she was planning to throw me out of my own house? When she was stealing from me? When she was sleeping with another man? He tried to argue that family matters should stay private and that everyone makes mistakes. This wasn't a mistake, I replied coldly. This was a calculated plan to betray someone who loved and trusted her. Actions have consequences. It's about time she learned that lesson. As for her brothers, they faced their own reckonings. The video from the gym incident reached Ethan's employers through an anonymous tip, not from me, honestly. Last I heard, he was placed on unpaid leave pending an investigation into his pattern of threatening behavior. Owen's been laying low, but according to mutual friends, he's been passed over for a promotion he was banking on. Sometimes, I think about how different things might have been if I hadn't noticed those inconsistencies in her stories. If Brenda hadn't texted me about the car, if I hadn't found that termination letter or checked our bank statements, I would have been completely blindsided when they tried to kick me out. Instead, I was ready. A month ago, I ran into Ethan at a gas station. He saw me before I saw him and ducked away. The man who once towered over me, threatening and intimidating, now couldn't even make eye contact. To anyone going through something similar, trust your gut when things don't add up. Don't be afraid to do your own detective work. Being underestimated can be your greatest advantage. Use it wisely. The weak man they tried to break? He wasn't just stronger than they thought. He was stronger than even he knew. What would you have done in my situation? And do you think my reaction was justified, or did I take it too far? Let me know in the comments below.